Yeah, and a lot of people project their wounds onto others. You know what I'm saying? If people are not aware of their wounds, if people are not doing the healing, hurt people.
Welcome to the Multiple Truths podcast. We're your hosts, Holly
And Brittany. This is a space where we can come together healing in community, where we share our self-love journeys, insights, and wisdom.
A space with no hierarchy or judgment, fostering love, compassion, and respect, and where we honor our differences. With open minds and hearts, everyone's truth is welcome here. We are in this together. Let's dive into the episode.
Hello, we are back. I am here with Holly again today.
Hello.
Yay! I love when we're together.
Me too.
I just wish that we can drive to each other's houses.
I know, it's a little flight away. It's like a 2-hour flight. It's really easy.
It's really nice and close. We live
Yeah.
on the same coast, so, you know, it's always perfect. And whenever you're in town, I always feel like I have 2 sisters, and I love my sisters more than anything. But growing up, my youngest sister is 10 years younger than me. My other sister is 7 years younger than me. So there was...
I didn't realize it was that big of an age gap.
There was quite an age gap. So I've always been close with my siblings, but my sisters and I have only become more so friends later on in life, just because growing up, I loved them, but I was more so like their babysitter.
Yeah.
And they would always like look through all my stuff, but I didn't really have a sister to share clothes with.
Yeah, I always wear Brittany's clothes so you can even see. I'm always in your outfit when I'm here.
I love it though, like down to the earrings. I'm like, oh my
Yes.
gosh, this is what it's like to have a sister to like share clothes with.
Oh my gosh, my sister and I would share our clothes all the time. More likely me taking her clothes. But actually when I started getting older, I feel like I had a fashion sense. So Caroline was taking my clothes. We were always wearing each other's clothes.
Did you
always.
like that?
I loved it. Yeah.
Oh, I
it
love
was
that.
like they were our clothes.
Oh, I love that because
Yeah.
I'm even wearing Holly's shorts right now too.
Yeah.
I know she only came with a suitcase, but I was like, can I wear these?
Yeah, I love it. I feel like it's just what people, I don't know. I love sharing things, sharing clothes.
Yeah.
That's what Kara and I always did. It's like the norm.
I feel like it's very healing for me because, again, I love my sisters, but when I would leave, they would raid my stuff. They would, like, my stuff would be a mess, basically.
Yeah.
By the time I got back, and then they would act like nothing happened, and I'm like, I could tell that everything is out of place right now.
Yes, I know you went through this. Yeah, I feel like I remember because my sister's 2 years older than me, so we had the same sizes. I'm pretty sure I used to steal her clothes sometimes, like even in college, and she would take mine, and that's when we would get annoyed at each other because like we would take each other's stuff without like sneaking. But
Sneaky.
it was always like, yeah, I loved it. We always did. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. Well, I love it right now.
Me too.
I'm like, this is what it's like to
I
share
just raid,
clothes.
yeah, I raid
like,
Brittany's closet.
Our style is very similar too, so
Yeah.
I feel like it works.
Same like color palette. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Very much same style.
I love it. But today we are going to be getting into a couple more emails sent in from you guys. So I love doing these episodes. If you are listening and you didn't know that we do this, we have our email in the description and everything below. So email us and it's not like we do these episodes all too often, but we like to do them. We like to rotate it, and we do get these in every month or so.
And if you're looking for our perspective, if you're looking for, guidance on anything that's going on in your life right now that you're like, I need some support, I don't know what to do, like message us. We can give you our perspective, take what resonates, leave what doesn't, but we just love giving our perspective and supporting you in any way that we can. So yeah, we always are checking the inbox. And then when we do these episodes, we randomly select the ones to answer. So send your questions in. We would love to hear from you.
We would love to. And again, this is our perspective. Trust yourself, trust your intuition more than anything. And if you're a listener and you have any advice to give, we would love to hear it in the comments below as well. But let's jump in. I have an email here. I'm just going to pull it up on my phone. Oh my gosh, it's 12:12 right now, and I got this in at 2:02, so the twos.
Interesting.
I love it. I'm 19 years old and I am in school full-time and work 20 hours a week. I have been currently going through a thought cycle of why I cannot, quote, just be a girl, quote. I'm very perfectionistic and type A and always had the inkling that I am not allowed to mess up. I don't party, I don't drink, I don't do drugs. I have very big dreams when it comes to my career path, and I've been working out why I am scared of mediocrity. I am also physically disabled and am terrified that all that people see of me is my outward appearance and not thinking I am up to par with anything, whether that comes from work, friendships, or romance. I would love your advice and to hear from such strong women in the spiritual community.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for writing in. First off, I just want to acknowledge I'm so sorry about, the disability and feeling like you need to be perfect, this constant striving to be perfect. I first want to,
I just going off that really quick too, it's so hard in society when anybody is different in any sort of way. It's, it's people don't know how to handle different. And I just want to send my love out to you because I feel like that can be hard in today's day and age.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I agree. And I just want to first acknowledge you're so young. You are so young right now. I feel like that time in my life, did you say 19 or 20? 19. Yeah. It's like you are just now discovering who you are. I always say I didn't know who I fully was until I was in my 30s. Like I'm going on 32 and I'm like, whoa, I had no idea who I was, what I wanted until 30. Not that you don't know who you are, but you're still very much finding yourself. I feel you're so young. Like I feel like this is the time to really explore and to find yourself, find what lights you up, like kind of letting go of this need to be perfect because no one is perfect. We are all human. We are all flawed. There is no such thing as perfect. We are all perfectly imperfect. And I know for me, I used to have this need to be perfect. This was a generational pattern that I found was like very woven deeply within my family of this need to be perfect, look perfect, perceive a certain persona, very much like generational on my mom's side. That is so deeply ingrained in our society. This need to be perfect, look perfect in order to be worthy of love, in order to feel good enough. And it's a very young wound, and knowing that you don't need to be perfect. You are already enough just as you are. And it's really like learning how to love yourself, love on these younger parts that feel like they need to be perfect, because this is the time to mess up, to figure out what you want to do, to have fun, to go out, to meet new people, to like be free, be young, figure out who you are, and know that the path will be illuminated on the way through following what lights you up, and not this like trying to stick in a box and like be a certain way and achieve goals by a specific time, you know?
And it's learning how to love the different parts of you. As a society, like Holly was saying, we feel like we need to be a certain way. Society perpetuates, this is what success looks like. This is what you need to achieve in order to be successful. And the truth of the matter is that we are all different. We are all unique. We all have our own unique gifts, and that I know you mentioned that you have a disability and you feel like you need to fit in, or you feel as though you are not good enough. But I guarantee that you have a set of unique gifts that nobody else here on this earth has. And it is being patient with yourself as you discover what those unique gifts are. Because it's easy to compare, oh, this person has this, I don't have any gifts, what about me? And the truth is that a lot of us don't even discover our gifts until we are older, and we all have more and more gifts to discover. So it's taking the time to discover who you are. Like Holly said, you're so young, you're 19, you said you don't drink, you don't do drugs, you sound like you are on the straight and narrow path. Not that that's a good or bad thing, we all have our own path, and it's trying, easier said than done, but taking that pressure off yourself. It's okay, I still have so much ahead of me. And I know that when you're 19, 20, there's so much pressure put on young people, young adults. It's like, okay, you're this age. By the time, you're X age, you should be married. You should have a good job. You should have a house so that you can have kids. And we feel like we are failures if we don't have those things by a certain age.
Yeah, or like falling behind, or something's wrong with us. Yeah.
And like, let me tell you, I thought I had my life all figured out. I was a high school teacher. I had my dream teaching position. I was with someone who I thought I was going to marry. Then all of that crumbled when I was 27, 28 years old.
Which is normally the time where like, oh, by 28, I'm going to be married. I'm going to have the house. I'm going to have the family, the kid. Like, yeah.
And I had to rediscover who I was outside of all of those things. I'm 30. And like Holly said, I didn't really feel like I knew who I was until I was 29, 30 years old.
Yeah.
Genuinely. So you are ahead of the game. The fact that you are already on this path of wanting to better yourself truly speaks volumes of who you are and how far you are already on your path, even if you don't see it in that way. Take the time to discover who you are right now, to discover these unique gifts that, again, you bring to the table that nobody else brings to the table. And romance is kind of standing out to me, you know, not feeling good enough for a certain partner, or like you said, career, because I think you said you're heavily focusing on career as well. It's, again, not needing to fit in a mold. You have these unique abilities that nobody else has. And when you discover those, you will attract people in your life that see the gifts that you bring to the table that nobody else brings to the table. And best believe you are going to be more than enough for a love partner and for whatever the career path might be. But it is really being patient with yourself and not needing to rush. And I know that that can be difficult, especially because there is so much pressure from society, even if it's unspoken, that's kind of put on you. But if you're able to kind of take a step back and, you know, breathe, and honestly, I want to say have fun.
Yeah, like, you know, there is no timeline. There's no rush. It's like being present with where you are right now, being very present, being very mindful. Like, again, what Brittany said, taking the pressure off, because there's no timeline. You don't need to, there's no rush. So it's enjoying where you are in this time. And like at this young age, like connecting deeply with yourself, like so many people, that this is a beautiful opportunity to really start connecting deeper with yourself, of like learning how to love yourself, learning how to appreciate yourself, your gifts, who you are. And even like getting curious about this need to be perfect and the quote unquote that you feel like you just want.
Like it's hard for her. Like, why can't I just be a girl?
Yeah, like getting curious about why you feel like why do you have to be more? Why do you feel like you need to do more? It's like getting really curious from this non-judgmental place of just acceptance for where you are and who you are, and learning how to really love yourself and love the gifts that you have, and not needing to be so perfect, you know, of you don't drink, you don't do drugs, you don't do any of those kind of things. It's like getting curious of like, are you choosing not to do those, or do you think by not doing those then you're perfect? So it's like exploring, you know, following what lights you up, doing different things, figuring out who you are, and knowing that like the right people are going to come into your life. The right people, when you get on the same team as yourself and learn how to love yourself and see yourself, you're going to attract in people that really see you and appreciate you for who you authentically are, not who you're trying to be, not trying to be this perfect mold of something. It's like who you authentically are. You're going to attract in people that really see you and resonate with you.
Yeah, no, exactly. And one thing I want to touch on here as well, just looking back at the email, I've been working out why I am so scared of mediocrity and terrified that people, they only see your outward appearance. And what's coming to mind is often when we are afraid of mediocrity or worried about others' perceptions of us, we feel the need to prove ourselves. Okay, I don't want mediocrity, so I'm going to work harder. I'm going to hustle more. Or I am afraid of what other people think of me, so I am going to mask myself. I am going to portray what I think other people want to see. And all that's doing is the opposite of what you really want to do. And this is easier said than done. Okay. This is not something that's going to happen overnight. This is going to take time, but trying to care less and less about what other people think, and it's actually working less. You know, it's like this hustle culture. I don't want mediocrity. I want success. I want to do more. And the more you focus on things outside of yourself, you know, working harder, almost like trying to achieve more, worried about what other people think, you're putting your energy outside of yourself. And when you can turn that and bring that energy inward and put all of that energy toward yourself, you are going to rise and you are going to get to know yourself and step into your power even more. And when that happens, best believe you won't be mediocre, because nobody on this earth is mediocre.
Yeah. And something I want to say too, when you have that when you're focusing on yourself, turning that energy inward, it's like I know you mentioned like being worried about your external appearance. It's like the subtle confidence that comes along with actually knowing who you are and loving who you are is radiant and is like a magnet.
It's an energy thing.
Yeah. It's like when you actually are authentically who you are and really love and appreciate who you are and have this subtle confidence, it's like that radiates, that energy is more magnetizing than what you look like. Because I do agree with you, like society, we do put a lot of emphasis on what we look like externally, but I know for me, I'm drawn into people's energy when I'm talking to them. Like if they're speaking about things that they're passionate about and it lights them up, and their energy, they're just like excited, and like you can tell that they genuinely love themselves and are excited and doing their own unique thing. It's like that is magnetizing, that is beautiful. Like you're as beautiful outside as you are in, or like the beauty that you radiate from within radiates from outside of you. So it's like really focusing on your internal world, because your internal world is a reflection of your external world. So really getting on the same team as yourself, and like not so much worrying about, like Brittany said, what other people think. You know, you're human, you're always going to care what other people think, but not allowing the opinions of others to dictate how you're going to live your life. So continuing to follow what lights you up, what excites you, and not so much worrying about what looks good on paper, what's going to make me look perfect or not feel mediocre.
Yeah, because if you're focused on those things too, you're never going to win, because there's always going to be somebody that judges. There's always going to be somebody that doesn't accept you. There's always going to be somebody that doesn't like you. And if you're always trying to be liked by other people, it's going to be exhausting. But when you're able to focus that inwards
and not authentic,
what Holly was talking about, it really was giving me Queen of Wands energy. For those of you that know about tarot at all, I love the Queen of Wands. She is a magnet. So everything Holly was saying, she is magnetic, and the Queen of Wands attracts to her. People come to her, opportunities come to her, but she is a magnet because she is sitting in her power and she pursues her passions. She's focused on herself. She does what's best for her. She's on fire. And as a result of being in that energy, she then becomes a magnet. And it's kind of like unfortunately, with society today, they put a lot of pressure on looks and this and that, but we all know that like one person who may not be traditionally good looking, which I hate even saying that, because I think beauty is in the eye of the beholder, but based on societal expectations or whatever, but they still radiate. Do you know what I'm saying? We all know that one person.
It's like that subtle confidence.
Yes.
It's the confidence. It's how they speak. It's how what they put out. It's like this, it doesn't even matter what they look like. It's like how they speak and portray themselves. It's like that is attractive. That makes the person attractive when there's that confidence. Real, authentic confidence, not fake, forced, mask confidence.
And the more you step into your authenticity, the more of that you will attract in. And society today makes us feel like we need to live up to certain standards, and if you're constantly trying to live up to those standards outside of you, often you are going to be presenting a certain way to fit in, which is the opposite of authenticity. So I say take the time to just get to know who you are.
Yeah, have fun. You're so young. Oh my gosh, go have fun. Yes, find friends, like find community, and like focus on what lights you up. Follow what lights you up, not what makes sense, what lights you up.
Yeah. But thank you so much for writing in.
Oh my gosh. And know that you are already good enough. You don't need to be perfect. Nobody's perfect. Take that pressure off. You are already good enough just as you are.
Yes. Hey guys, we are super excited to announce the launch of something new. We will be launching something called a community on a platform called Skool. That's SKOOL. It's similar to a Patreon, but better. It's a platform for learning and, community. Basically, it will give you access to exclusive content from both Holly and I. Holly is a certified holistic health coach, and she is also a certified embodiment coach. I have a degree in kinesiology and received a certification in personal training. I also am an advancing student in mediumship development and have been channeling spirit for as long as I can remember. Through our own experience and journeys, as well as our knowledge gained through education, we will be curating content to specifically aid in your journeys back home to self. This will include monthly guided meditations, guided embodiment practices, pick-a-card readings, energy healing, guided workouts, and healthy recipes. It will also include important teachings to help you become the most embodied version of yourself. Some topics will include how to connect with your intuition, how to tap into the psychic within you, how to heal your inner child, how to face and understand your ego, how to heal your relationship with your body and food, and more. This platform will also allow for conversation and connection with others who are also part of the community, giving you the opportunity to potentially meet other like-minded individuals who are also on the path of becoming the best versions of themselves. This path is not easy and at times can be isolating. We are not supposed to do this alone. Community is so healing and so important, so we hope this will provide support for you regardless of where you might be on your journey. It's only $22.22 a month, where you will have unlimited access to all of the content as well as the new content rolled out monthly. It will also give you a $10 discount on our monthly healing circles. Holly and I both struggled with self-image, self-confidence, knowing our self-worth, and knowing what it means to truly love ourselves majority of our lives. The truth is that we are not taught how to properly love ourselves in this day and age, and we are on a mission to make change. We owe it to the future generations to come. We believe that it is important to love your mind, body, and spirit cohesively in order to truly step into the highest, most authentic version of yourself. We hope to see you there, honey. So I think we have one more email.
I'm going to read one more. Okay, this is from the next email, which we're just going to keep the names anonymous. Okay. I have been estranged from my family for 6 years, being the black sheep of my family, the one who was never understood. I was an empath without knowing, which led to a childhood of being too sensitive, attention-seeking, too strong-willed. Basically, I was never good enough. After a fight with my brother, my family basically kicked me and my family to the curb.
I'm assuming she means like her brother or her family kicked her and her own family. So her partner, her kids.
Okay.
Is my assumption.
Okay. After a fight with my brother, my family basically kicked me and my family to the curb. It was honestly a relief not having to constantly defend myself and my beliefs. Now, my mother is dying. It has been so hard because my father and my brother are making it difficult to see her at the end of her life. Of course, I have forgiven and forgotten and just want quality time with her before she passes. My question is, how do people get stuck in hate and anger? How is it that I am capable of putting the past behind me, but they cannot? Did I really sign up for these lessons? Did we really pick these people for our journey? Make it make sense, please.
So first I want to say that I'm so sorry that, you are being held from seeing your mom in her, her last stages of life. I can't imagine what that would be like. So my heart really, really goes out to you. I want to say that first. And I just want to acknowledge that, being human is really hard, and it can be really confusing sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, why did I sign up for this? We see the darkness in the world. Why is this happening? And if I'm being honest, sometimes we're not supposed to know all of the answers. And I wish I had an exact answer for you. This is exactly why, but I don't have that answer for you. I know that God, source, the universe, whatever it is you want to call it, has that answer. And I don't know. I think being human, sometimes it's acknowledging that it is hard and there are things that don't make sense.
Yeah. And something too is like, it's really hard to be misunderstood.
Yeah.
And just for you being the black sheep too, it's like, it's very hard to be misunderstood, and just acknowledging that for yourself. Like, this is really hard to be isolated from your family, to not be able to easily see your mom at the end of her life. Like, really validating that for yourself, because that it's valid.
Yeah. Validating your human experience, because we are spirit first, but we are having a human experience, and everything that you're feeling is so incredibly valid.
Yeah.
And to answer the question about, why can I forgive and other people cannot? Everyone is on their own journey. Unfortunately, we all have free will. That's the thing about being here on earth. And some people are more aware of certain things. And, sometimes, I wish I could go up to someone who's hurt me and be like, why can't you see this? Why can't you forgive? I've forgiven. Why can't you see how terrible this is? And there's no way in really doing that for other people,
Yeah. And two, it's something else I want to say, which I know Brittany and I have both felt in different points in our life. It's like, it's really hard to constantly have to be the bigger person. But sometimes when you are further along your path or have, you have to meet people where they're at in their consciousness and like their conscious level. For you, if you're more an empath and more on your journey of like, understanding some people operate from wounds and like the anger and the hate in the world, but you have a deeper understanding of yourself. It's like having to meet people where they are at. You can forgive them, because by you not forgiving, it's hurting you more than it hurts that other person. Having that forgiveness, and also knowing, like, meeting people where they're at, and like realizing that not everyone is where you are at, and being the bigger person, even though that is, hard. It's hard. And validating that again, it's hard to always be the bigger person. It's hard to constantly have to see where other people are coming from when they're not willing to do the same. But it's such an act. It's such a sign of growth to be able to do that. And you're helping yourself not harbor that resentment.
Yeah. And a lot of people project their wounds onto others. You know what I'm saying? If people are not aware of their wounds, if people are not doing the healing, hurt people. And it sounds like that's exactly what's going on right now. It sounds like there are wounds within your family members, and they are being projected onto you at this time, and that is not fair. And I am sorry that you are having to deal with this, and it is not easy being the bigger person. And this is where boundaries and whatnot need to come into play. But if you are farther along on the healing journey, like Holly said, seeing it from a bigger perspective and realizing, okay, they're really wounded right now. This sucks, and it's validating all of your emotions. But it's also, I can only speak for me, at least. It's when things like that happen to me and things are being projected onto me, I'm at a place where I can zoom out and have compassion for that person. They're actually really hurting on the inside if they're going to project that onto me in this way. It sucks, and I need to have my boundaries, because I'm not going to
feel that pain too, not spiritually, not bypass the pain that you're feeling by them not understanding you. But
it's not allowing yourself to be mistreated. It's having those boundaries, but loving from afar and having that compassion. And it's hard, it's challenging. It sounds like the situation you're in really sucks.
Yeah. And the first question too that you had is, how do people get stuck in hate and anger? And I feel like some people get really stuck in hate and anger because of young wounds, because of these wounded parts of themselves that they have never been able to go back and love on or get validation from. It's like this very wounded space of being angry and being hateful because of all of the bad things that happen to you, and just getting stuck in that kind of like toxic negativity loop of like that victim mentality. And getting stuck in that, and then perpetuating their hate and their anger because they're so wounded, but they're not really, some people are not willing to like do the deeper work to release that from themselves. And
it's like they're stuck in a dark place, and that's where having that compassion, but that's difficult. One thing I do want to add, and I want to validate that this is not going to make you feel any better, because this human experience and losing, your mom physically from this earth is going to be really, really hard. And this is not necessarily going to make up for that. So I want to say that first. But as a medium, what I've come to learn and see firsthand through experience is that often when a person passes, you are able to cultivate a relationship with them in spirit. And you don't need to be a medium yourself to be able to do this. We are all spirit first. We all have that connection. We all have that ability to connect. A personal example, my grandfather passed when I was quite young. I was 4 or 5, and I actually actually developed a relationship with him as I got older, because I started communicating with the spirit world, and he comes through to me all the time. And it is a very different relationship. I've also communicated with other people in the mediumship space who they had a really difficult relationship with a parent in life. And then when their parent passed over, communicating with them spiritually, the parent comes through with a lot they come through with no more ego. So they come through with a lot more understanding. They often apologize, and they're able to build a whole new relationship that's often a lot more beautiful and full of love. So I do want to say that as well. Again, acknowledging the fact that it's not going to take away from losing your mom physically on this earth. So this is not me saying like, oh, it's okay. You can just build a relationship with her in spirit. I really want to acknowledge, the human part of it, but I do want you to know that you don't need to be a medium in order to foster a connection with a past loved one in spirit. We all have access to that, and it can actually be really healing and really beautiful.
Yeah, I think that's so powerful. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's so powerful. I've heard many stories like that before of like connecting with past loved ones. Mm-hmm. But I feel too, for now, when you do get an opportunity to be with your mom, really cherish that time with her. Really take care of yourself before going into being with your mom, so you can come from a very grounded, loving place and really embrace your final moments with her and cherish this time that you do have with her left here on this earth, and really cultivate. There's so much healing that can happen at the end of someone's life as well. So even like you being open and vulnerable with some things that maybe you're harboring against her, or like really having real, raw, authentic conversations with your mom if she's open to that, and showing her love. But I feel too, it's like really focusing on yourself at this time and what you need to do for you, so you can enjoy the time left with your mom when you get the opportunity to see her. And when it comes to like the rest of your family too, it's like, again, meeting them where they're at, continuing to take care of yourself, set your boundaries that you need, speak with love, but speak with boundaries, and trust that they are on their own journey and you're on your own. And I know it may be hard, like, why would I sign up for this? But we are all here to learn lessons. So what is this trying to teach you? Asking for guidance from your guides, from your spirit guides, because only you know the answer to that. Yeah, what is this trying to teach me? Because everything in life, all of our relationships, they're all trying to teach us something. So when we can get curious, you can kind of like get the deeper meaning. And I know a lot of times, like being human, it's hard to learn how to be in relationships, to communicate effectively, to communicate your needs, your wants, your desires, to be able to have healthy boundaries, speak in a healthy way, to know your worth outside of these relationships. So it's getting curious, because you did, we all signed up to be in the families that we're in, to heal within our families, to learn the lessons that we came down here to learn. So it's just really getting curious. And I really feel like this time left with your mom is a really beautiful, powerful opportunity to heal that relationship with her before she goes into the spirit world.
Yeah. And just going off of that too, being here on earth is not easy, and
absolutely
learning lessons are often difficult. We did come here to learn, and sometimes it doesn't make sense, and sometimes they are hard lessons, and sometimes in order to learn the lessons, the universe will bring us difficult experiences so that we learn the difficult lesson. So you're not doing anything wrong, and I want to again validate, it doesn't mean it's easy. Earth is hard. It is hard, and it's not supposed to be easy, and we chose to forget coming down here, so it's easy to question the why. So you're so, I want to say, what's the word, valid. You are so valid in all of the feelings that you're feeling right now. So give yourself the permission to feel all of it. And like Holly said, really taking care of yourself so that when you do see your mom, you are showing up with an open heart, and you're not allowing your other family members to get in the way of that, and you can really make the most of this time spent with her.
Yeah, and really validate the pain that you felt in your childhood, you know, being the black sheep, being very sensitive. You know, Brittany and I were both very sensitive growing up, and that wasn't cultivated. So it's like that because our parents didn't know how to, you know, it's like really validating your younger experience, validating your inner child, showing her so much love before you even go in to see your mom or go in to see your dad or brother, because they're probably going to trigger you as well. So like you being that loving comfort, maternal, paternal, like mother loving energy to yourself, so you can stay strong in who you are, and again meet them where they're at and enjoy the time that you have left, because it's really important too, I just want to say, to not get caught up in the victim mentality of why did I choose this, why is my family doing this, why me. It's like getting out of that victim mentality, not saying you're in it, but it's really easy to get sucked into that and really heal and learn how to like validate those younger parts of you that were hurt by your family, so you can enjoy the rest of this time and step into gratitude. Thank you for this time that I have left with my mom. Thank you for my brother and dad for being here to support my mom. Like stepping a bit more into gratitude as well, I feel like could be a really good way to like embrace this time.
And one thing that's actually coming to mind as you're speaking that I would like to add is, you know, souls are complex and we all have a soul family. We choose to come down with certain souls, and sometimes your soul will love other souls so much that you will choose to be a lesson for the other souls coming down here. So if you are the black sheep of your family, there's a chance that you chose to experience what you did to kind of push your family members. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't, it's kind of like taking one for the team, which sucks. And I don't know if that's exactly what's going on, but it's like choosing to be the different one. And yes, it's really hard for you here, but it's maybe because the rest of your family, their souls needed certain lessons. And because your soul loved them because your soul loves them so much, you chose to self-sacrifice, for lack of a better word, to help them grow based on where their souls are at on their journey. And I was getting chills as I was saying that, so maybe that resonated. But
yeah, which can be really kind of hard for the human mind to comprehend. You know, it can be really hard to comprehend that, but it's so much more complex than I think we realize. But also validating your humanness and your human experience and your human feelings, like not bypassing how you feel, really validating that and knowing that this is hard. That's a hard so that's a hard path to choose. So just validating that it's really hard, allowing yourself to feel that, feel your anger, feel your rage, so you are not someone that's walking around with the hate and anger that you said, how people get stuck in that. Having rage, anger rituals for yourself, for you to get out your anger, and as you get out your anger, you can also support your family in getting out theirs. You know, like when you heal your family, you heal all the people that came before you, all the people that came after you. So even something around communication, learning how to communicate, helping your family learn how to communicate with one another instead of cutting each other out, cutting each other off. How can we learn how to communicate? I feel like you're meant to be a teacher for your family as well. Often the black sheeps, the more sensitive beings, are here to teach. So I hope that was helpful. No, thank you. And I think what Holly said kind of tied that up perfectly. I hope that was helpful. Again, my heart goes out to you for, you know, what you're experiencing at this time, because of course it's not easy to navigate, especially, you know, being human and things are not always supposed to make sense. So, that can be difficult to accept. But thank you so much for writing in. Yeah, thank you. I hope that was supportive, and I really hope you get to connect with your mom before, because the mother-daughter connection is so incredibly special, and I really hope you get an opportunity to really feel that before she passes. But I'm sending you so much love. Thank you for those of you who are tuning in, who are listening. Again, if anyone else has any advice or have maybe been through a similar experience, we'd love to hear from you as well. We will have our email down below, so if you are wanting to write in, please do. We have our monthly healing circles.
the funds from that go directly into this podcast.
So if you're looking for a way to support us, that's a beautiful way to support us, to come to the circles. And it's so fun to get a chance to like see and connect with you guys, you know, virtually, but we get a chance to really like talk with one another. So it's such a beautiful way to get a chance to interact and connect. Yeah.
And one last thing, our community, not sure exactly if that's been launched yet or not, because I'm not exactly sure when this episode is going to air, but if that is something that you would be interested in, we would love to have you a part of our honey community. But I think we'll leave it there. Sending you guys so much love.
Yes, we'll talk to you next Wednesday. Bye. As we wrap up today's episode, we want to extend our deepest gratitude for joining us on this journey. Your support does not go unnoticed. If you enjoyed this episode and find value in our conversations, please take a moment to leave a review. Your feedback not only helps us grow, but also allows us to reach more people who can benefit from our community of healing and support. Every review, every rating makes a difference. Thank you for being a part of the Multiple Truths Podcast family. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of the Multiple Truths Podcast. Keep speaking your truth and spreading your light. We love you, and we'll talk to you next Wednesday.